killing for time with Taker and the Undertaker, the Undertaker, that they just had to, make that a quick match, and they did. That match didn't take no more than, I'd say, about 5 minutes, if that. Santino hits the Cobra on Slater, and Slater gets knocked out, bam, by Big Show, which was a huge pop by the Georgia Dome crowd. I was one of them, and they end up winning. Santino Marella is way over. He's one of the most over guys in the company by far. After that match took place, we had several promos and stuff like that took place in the backstage. The Rock, Mae Young, and Steve Austin. Good stuff. Hornswoggle doing his rapping, WrestleMania rapping with the Bella Twins with him, and actually speaking in understandable tones. All of that was centered around Snoop Dogg, as well as Teddy Long, doing this like WrestleMania rap contest to see who can like just do the best raps. It was really probably the best backstage segment of the day. Rock did several promos, as I mentioned before, backstage that were aired on the huge Georgia Dome screens. And besides that, it really wasn't that much more interviewing backstage. There was no promos. There was none of that stuff. We had Randy Orton and CM Punk. Awesome. Just both guys get it. And all I'm going to say about that match is this. Punk is great at what he does. Orton is great at what he does. And the finish to this match, probably the best finish of the night, besides Taker and The Undertaker. The Undertaker and Triple H. Probably the best finish. Where CM Punk tries to spring off the top rope, and Orton, by some measure, catches him with the RKO from the top rope. It was awesome. Catch him with the RKO while he was while Orton was standing up and Punk was coming off the top rope, and Orton wins. After all that, surprisingly, we had The Undertaker and Triple H, which I thought would close the event, but it didn't close the event, which was kind of weird that it didn't close it. But nevertheless, it really wasn't. It wasn't, really the way that the main event between the John Cena and the Miz turned out with The Rock cost the John Cena the match, and the Miz winning off of that, and then having The Rock beat up on the Miz at the end. I can understand why they wanted The Rock to close out the show. Undertaker and Triple H, hands down, best match of the night. It was the match that had everybody on their seat. I got to be honest, I didn't think this match would deliver, and I was wrong. It not only delivered, it surpassed what they did at WrestleMania 17. You can easily make an argument, some people can, and I think you can, that this match was just as good as Taker and Shawn at WrestleMania 25, 25th anniversary of WrestleMania. It was that good. The false finishes, the back and forth, the psychology of this match is what made it great. We don't see that anymore. For some reason, we just don't see that anymore. But the psychology of this match put it over the top. And it culminated with Triple H getting hooked in that triangle choke at the end of the match, close to the end of the match, having the sledgehammer in his hand, trying to grab the sledgehammer, although he's getting choked out. You think he's down and out, and he tries for it again. He holds it, and once it looks like he's about to hit a Taker, he falls down. The arm falls down. He gives way. His dead weight. And he tries to get back up again, but he just taps real gently. And Undertaker had him on this choke, I would say, for a good 3 minutes. It was that long. 2-3 minutes. He had it on him for a long time. And Triple H finally gives up. And then at the end of the match, we see The Undertaker and Triple H struggling to get to their feet. The Undertaker obviously is out of it. The paramedics, WWE personnel come down there to help him out, and eventually it all culminates. Triple H walking back to the ring, acting like he was about to help Taker out, but the ref said just go back. And Taker, once Taker struggles to try to reach back to his feet, as if he was going to walk out on his own power, he collapses again. He never really gets up until people help him and they bring him up on kind of like one of those sports gurneys, kind of like the forklift kind of like devices, and then they send him back out to the backstage. But the realism and the psychology of that match was just as good as the psychology that we had at WrestleMania 25. I'm not gonna say it's a better match, but it had the psychology that was there, and we don't see that a lot in this business anymore. Excuse me, all these bumblebees and stuff that are out here. Awesome match. But I think before that, it was Cole and Lawler, which was better than I thought it would be. There was probably a little too much overselling by Jerry Lawler towards Cole. I did like the fact, I did read about it, and I'm pretty sure the WWE was going to do this. They didn't allow Jerry to do the power driver, which I thought, man, this was the right time for Cole to pay. But the finish was actually decent since he had him in the ankle lock, and that's what Cole was pretty much doing him forever. So that was understandable finish. But the most entertaining parts of this, Cole's attire, orange attire, which was hilarious. His tattoos, which was all over the place. The ability for him to play the chicken shit character is phenomenal, in my opinion. The coal miner stuff is awesome. The box was destroyed during the Taker and Triple H match, but Jerry almost beat him. He pretty much beat him up inside the box after he climbed over. Booker T came down, the guest host. I'm the guest host. He came down with JR to call the match, which I'm really interested to actually hear JR and Booker T and JR in general, and JR King. Everything that has to do with JR, I'm interested in buying the DVD. I can't wait to hear it. His take on Triple H and Taker, and really everything that he called. And make a long story short, Jerry won, and Swagger got beat up by Austin. This was followed by Booker T coming into the ring and wanting to do a spinneroonie. And after sharing a beer with Jerry Lawler, Austin shares a beer with Booker T. He stuns Booker T. The crowd goes nuts. We all laugh. It's hilarious. And the Raw general manager makes a comment. The Raw general sends an email. Josh Matthews, the unfortunate one, reads it, and basically the GM said that due to the referee overstepping his bounds and not being impartial, Michael Cole is the victor. And Austin went nuts on Josh Matthews. He beat his ass up. He stunned Josh Matthews. And after that, you had Cole, who was laughing at the ramp and just out of it, with Swagger carrying him down the ramp. Eventually, they're sitting on the top of the ramp. You had Austin and Jerry Lawler were both they were both in the ring sharing a beer together and just saying, screw it, we're just going to drink beer and have fun. Lawler eventually leaves, and Austin is Austin. He gets a huge pop from the fans, and he came in on his four-wheeler, which was awesome too. He came in with his four-wheeler, which was pretty cool. Almost hit Jack Swagger and Cole. But besides all of that, we fast forward to the mixed tag match, which by far the worst of the night. There's really, I really can't say that many good things about that eight-man tag. But the mixed tag match. The whole point of that whole match was to get Snooki over. But there were some other hints inside the match that leads me to believe that the WWE might consider another angle between Morrison and Dolph Ziggler. It's been a couple years since they had their feud around the summer 2009 during SummerSlam that year. I think in LA, I think it fits that they'll have an angle with each other. Vicky Guerrero was not as much of a factor. She kind of started off everything by introducing Cole and Ziggler. Should have been a better. I think they could have used Vicky a whole lot better than they did. She should have been in the match. I don't under, she should have been in the match in some form. But you can tell that Lay Cool is growing apart. Michelle McCool pushed Layla away during the course of the match. You can tell that there's dissension there, and eventually there's going to be a split between Lay Cool, which I think is probably needed at this point. They've been together long enough. Um, and of course, Snooki got her, her shining moment when she did the Muda-like handspring elbow that I guess Trish taught her. I don't know. And she did a backflip, kind of like, a backflip and then like a spotty splash. Um, Snooki got probably the most heat out of. She got just as much heat as Drew Carey did at the Hall of Fame, and as um, John Cena got during most of the day. Right, but long story short, out of all of that, the babyfaces won. Blah blah blah. Trish Stratus is on Tough Enough. You can go check her out tonight on USA Network. I just hope that there's a lot more good coming out of this with the split between Lay Cool and also an interesting angle between John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler. John Morrison did a pretty cool spot too. He did the Starship Pain off the top rope and onto the floor on Dolph Ziggler, which I think is all great. It looked good, but he's crazy. But that's pretty much all of that match. Excuse me. To finish things up, we had Cena and The Miz. Both had preview kind of like package videos before the actual match took place. That was awesome, by the way. I liked both of those. The Miz's was the best by far, and John Cena was not that far behind. It set the tone. John Cena, The Miz came out with a huge, awesome sign that was directed right towards the entranceway, and he looked like a star. He really looked like a star at WrestleMania. And Riley looked like he fit too, but I don't understand why Riley didn't come out with his suit. He looked like an idiot coming out with his ring attire. I didn't understand that. I never understand that when they do that stuff. John Cena came out, and I will say this: Miz is the only person that I've known, as well as John Cena, who looked good with the spinner belt. No one else does. They look decent with it. John Cena came out with a gospel choir that was basically directing his song at first, and this was followed by John Cena just running around to the ring with his music playing. The pop. No one received a bigger reaction, but probably besides The Rock, John Cena did. So besides all of that, John Cena and The Miz had an awesome match. It was really, really good. The chemistry was there between both of them. Back and forth stuff, and it all culminated with The Rock coming out after there was a 10 count, the referee counted 10 when both of them were outside. It was a DQ finish. It looked like it was going to be, a count out finish. This was all about The Rock coming out. After The Rock comes out, The Rock basically says, this isn't going to happen. Then the GM sends an email. The GM sends the email, and the Rock says, JR, no, you don't read it. And then he read the email. The Rock read it and said, the email read, and I quote, I think. The Rock paused and said, it doesn't matter what you think. The Rock ends up giving John Cena the rock bottom. Miz covers him. He wins. Miz thinks that the match is over and that, hey, I can celebrate. He looks at The Rock. The Rock's right down the ramp. He runs right back down the ramp, and he beats up the Miz, gives him the rock bottom, and then gives him the people's elbow. And all of this ends with The Rock closing out WrestleMania. And it's only The Rock can. But that's my review of WrestleMania, my whole weekend of WrestleMania. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic. You P's and Peepettes, if you haven't been to a WrestleMania yet, please go do so. It's in Miami next year. If you can do it, get the tickets. Don't wait. Don't mess around and get it. But that's it for me. Peace out, peeps. Credits roll, and I'll see you next time. Later.